Hey, beautiful people, how you doing? And a massive welcome to my brother, Tim Wild. How you doing, my friend?
Good morning, David. How are you, brother? I'm very well, thank you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday indeed.
Hey.
And we are very excited to be back once again with a magic hat session. if, if you missed this last month, it was over on Tim's channel, so you can go and
Yeah.
catch up on there. We're on my channel today, we're going to keep alternating back and forward. But generally, the idea of this is, if you're not familiar with Tim, of course, go check him out straight away because he is an absolute legend in this field, a master in all things awakening. And to be honest, we just like the opportunity to come together and chat about what it is that we do. So we came up with this idea called the Magic Hat Sessions, where we have the Magic Hat, which is full of little bits of paper with a whole bunch of topics in it related to spirituality in general terms. And the idea is that we just pick one out and we chat about it and just see what happens in the moment, unplanned, unscripted, just in flow.
It's a little bit like pulling a card, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
Like the last one we did was so timeline appropriate. You can't make this stuff up. So as you dip your magical fingers into the magic hat, I trust fully in the comprehensive choice that will be made for our subject matter this morning.
That's it. So on that note, should we just roll straight into it and see what we find?
Yeah, have a little bit.
I'll ask the angels just to guide me here to pick something good, something appropriate. I've got something in my hand. It's going to be... Ooh, that's an interesting one. See if I can get this. If I step out the way, it might come into focus. No, it's not going to come into focus.
Blurry.
I saw it for a splash there. Anyway, it says the Stellar Gateway Chakra.
Stellar Gateway Chakra.
Yeah. I should not have thrown that straight back in. I'll have to find that later.
It'll probably come out next time as well. It's a Stellar Gateway Chakra.
Yeah. So, of course, this is one of the higher chakras that was added in 2014. Back to the higher fifth dimensional chakra blueprint that kind of went in alignment with the evolution of consciousness that's happening through the ascension process. Just in case if you're not familiar with this, you may be still working in the 3D chakra system, the seven chakras. I think most people that are familiar with our channel will know about the higher chakras, but just in case. When the ascension process started in 2012, we began transforming. It's about an evolution of humanity, really, as we're returning to the light, as we're raising in vibration to increase the frequency of this planet. And in order to assist us to basically hold more light on this planet, more chakras were brought online until the point we're actually up to 16 now. In 2014, it jumped to 12, but we are at 16 now. And it's interesting because there's a lot more chakras than that. When you dig into it, you've got like hand chakras and ear chakras, etc., etc., etc. But there's a very specific blueprint that we're working to at the moment, which is forming the evolution of us through this ascension process. And it's a blueprint that's being applied to absolutely everyone on the planet. More active in others, depending on their awakening stage, but it exists for everyone. And it brought online these additional 5 chakras in 2014, of which one of them is the Stellar Gateway Chakra, which sits about a meter above the top of the head. Do you want to dive in, Tim, a little bit and describe it in a bit more detail?
The Stellar Gateway Chakra, or the knowledge of it, was first introduced to me via Diana Cooper when she brought out her book Discover Atlantis, because it became very apparent during reading this book that the Atlanteans, who existed up until 10,000 years ago, were working with a higher chakra system than the one that we've navigated the third dimension in. So as we were born into 3D, as all of us were, unless you were born after 2012, you would have been born with I call it the limited 7 chakras, because we were reduced to 7 chakras to be able to exist in the school of illusion that we've been navigating 3D in. And as the cosmic moment came and went in 2012, we immediately opened ourselves up to a rising personal and spiritual frequency. And by 2014, the Atlantean 12 chakra system became available as a collective blueprint for everybody on this planet. So the rather than something that we had to kind of scrabble to connect with, they actually became part of us. Now, the Stellar Gateway is, the tips, if you hold your hand up straight like that, where the tip of my finger is, that's where the Stellar Gateway is. And it works as a conduit for the light that is coming in from the cosmos. So, as some of you or all of you may be aware, we receive a myriad of ascension frequencies every waking second or sleeping second of every day that's going on at the moment. And those frequencies collectively come down through the Stellar Gateway, which funnels it into our chakra system, and then we receive it on a light quotient level, and it begins to be distributed throughout our system. Originally, before the Stellar Gateway became active, the crown served this role. So the crown has been kind of made not redundant on that level, but the job of receiving the frequencies of the cosmos was handed to the Stellar Gateway when we began to work with it, whether we knew it or not. And the crown has kind of reformed to serve as the point of master wisdom within the body. So the Stellar Gateway is incredibly important. Although it is what we call a transcendent chakra, it is the chakra that receives the light from everywhere and everything around us. And the more finely tuned and open the Stellar Gateway is, and the more in tune with it is, the more we can be in control of the light that we receive.
Beautifully described. Thank you, Tim. And one of the things that this is very much tied to is we think of ourselves as quite isolated here on the Earth. This is our ascension process. It's something that our planet is going through. But the reality is we are part of something so much bigger. The Earth is... I hear the term the crown jewel quite a lot. Melchizedek in particular talks about the Earth returning to its place as the crown jewel within the universe. But we are connected to so many other star systems all around, in particular this galaxy, but further beyond as well. And we are all interconnected. There's many ascended races that are existing on other planets out there. And this is where it gets a little bit sci-fi, but that's the reality. To think that the universe is as big as it is and that there isn't any other life out there is madness. There's more galaxies in space than there are grains of sand on the Earth.
Yeah,
that is just a staggering fact. And there is life outside there. Not all of it is in physical incarnation. Many of the races are pure energetic beings. But there is a great number of ascended races, and we are all interconnected, and they are very, very much assisting to help us with our ascension at this time, because the Earth is so important to the overall state of the universe. Apparently, I couldn't tell you the specifics as to exactly why we are so important, but this is the message that keeps coming back to me. And we are a being that is so much more than what we see before us now. We look in the mirror and we see this physicality, but this is like that much of who we are in comparison to the scale of how vast we are. And as we move through our body system, we're going a little bit beyond the Stellar Gateway, but it's just part of a bigger system here. As we move beyond the physical, we move beyond the emotional, the mental, the spiritual bodies, we go out further, we move into the soul bodies, we move into the monadic bodies. We eventually we have a galactic body that is part of our energetic field. And that galactic body holds an imprint of our life as a galactic being, as so much more than who we are. It holds an imprint of our past lives in other star systems. But most importantly, it connects us to every other star system that's out there with all of our brothers and sisters across the universe. It connects us all the way back to the vastness of our universe. It's we are not an isolated thing on here, and quantum physics is discovering this, that if an atom of us can be completely affected by something on the other side of the planet, because everything is connected no matter how vast the scale is. And the Stellar Gateway Chakra, the reason why I'm saying this, is kind of like an access point that connects us to all of these vast galactic sources. All of the races that are assisting us with this ascension process are sending light and wisdom to us at this time. They're sending their own experiences from their own ascension processes, because some of these places have been through similar journeys to us and have moved from an unascended state to an ascended one, and they've got a lot to share. There's a lot that they can assist us with. There's many people on this planet who have had recent lifetimes in these systems long gone by and are still in communication, have very much roles on this planet right now that are still interconnected with those systems. And the Stellar Gateway Chakra is, as the name says, a gateway to the stellar world, to the cosmos as it is, and allows us to receive that light and that wisdom to help us essentially with this journey that we're on.
Absolutely. That's very well described. I like that. The gateway, the gateway to the stellar world. It's like the description's in the name, isn't it, really? It's just want to pick up on what you were saying there about other beings or other systems going through our process. And it's actually a question that I've asked because, there have been times where both you and I, David, we've been like, this is a tough process. We're doing what we've agreed in our infinite cosmic wisdom to go through from 3D to 5D in 20 years, which is, it's almost like we made that decision while we're all drunk and we decided to do it for a bet, because it's an astronomical...
You'd have to be.
You'd have to, I think something happened, wouldn't it? So 20 years from 2012 to 2032, that's our window of opportunity, 20 years in 4D, which we're over halfway through now, and things are incredibly intense. So I sat in my woodland space outside one day and I did a little bit of questioning. I said, who out there that I work with or that we work with collectively has been through a similar process to this? And it was the beings of Sirius that stepped forward. And I think, it was Lord Katumi was talking about it, because he works in the higher planes of the universities of Sirius. And he was saying the beings of Sirius went through, and it was it wasn't that long ago on a cosmic scale. They did what we're doing now, and they are the system that could be closest to us in process and physicality and learning circumstances. But they took 300 years to do it, apparently. 300 years in Earth time, if we compare how their time moved with ours. And they thought it was difficult. 300 years. I mean, that's a lot longer than 20 years. It's quite considerable. So when Earth and all of us agreed to do this, there were a lot of people or a lot of beings up there that were going, well, good luck with that. We'll be here to help you. But there's a lot riding on this. Like you said, Earth is the jewel in the crown. What happens here has a resonant effect throughout the cosmos. As we go up in vibration, everything else goes up in vibration. There is going to be a trigger point, a catalyst from what we're doing here that will have a reverberation throughout everything that surrounds us. So no pressure, but there's a lot riding on it. But I just found it very interesting that the beings of Sirius rode the ascension wave in a similar way, not identical, but a similar way to us. And they took 300 years to do it. And even over 300 years, the pressure was still on. Says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Why on earth would we ever agree to this? Is insanity.
I think it's because we can do it.
You're right.
We're going to do it. But it's so intense, isn't it?
So intense. And just to to say to that. That doesn't mean we're going to get to 2032 when we're going to be living in some utopian society where, you know, everything is right in the world again. But we will have cleared what we needed to clear and be prepared to start the rebuilding of a new golden civilization. That's essentially what it is. We will have let go of our shadow aspects, and that's not far away. You know, 7 years.
It's not far away at all. And if we look at the way that the world is at the moment, we are in the absolute midst of the deepest, the darkest shadow work that is coming out. All of the shadow aspects of people's personalities are coming to the surface, all of the karma, be it family or be it collective karma, is all coming to the surface. Everything is visible. Beginning of the year, at the end of March, just after the spring equinox in the Northern Hemisphere, Merlin brought the blue light through everybody's third eye chakras. And when that occurred, it dissolved all ability for people to hide within illusion. So all of a sudden, everything's visible. And it's having a profound effect on how people are responding to their environment, how they are being triggered, how they're dealing with things. People that could before hide behind a visage of illusion. They could convince themselves that the world was a certain way. They don't have that ability to anymore. So what we're seeing is the visible emotional response throughout everybody out there who is no longer able to live within that lie, and because it's all unraveling. And we can see it unraveling in real time in the reflection in society. So this is, and meanwhile, while all of this is going on, we are being deluged with more light than we've ever been able to receive. So this, I think, is why the Stellar Gateway has made itself apparent this morning, because all of the light begins to connect with us via the Stellar Gateway, meaning the more fine-tuned the Stellar Gateway is when we are receiving that light, the more in balance and in tune and able to deal with our environment we are. Because we all know from experience, if we're receiving too much, it's easy to get burnt out. And the Stellar Gateway, one of the Stellar Gateway's primary functions is to bring that light in a way where it's not too much and it's not too little. It is supportive of your process, which is overseen by Archangel Metatron, who is basically the archangel who is in charge of the development of the Stellar Gateway when it first activates. It's all interesting stuff.
It is. And of course, that means that working with your Stellar Gateway chakra consciously, you know, these things happen unconsciously all the time. It's there and it's active, especially if you're watching this, it's very active for you and it is drawing in light. But the more that we consciously work with it, we set our intent for it to allow that flow to come in, to direct it through the rest of the chakra column and then ground it into the earth, the easier it is to manage that level of light. You know, it's quite, for many, many reasons, it's quite easy for energy to get stuck in the body. And we wouldn't even know that it's there unless we actually witness the flow of energy through our systems. You know, there's people, you know, it could be a block in your crown, could be a block in your heart, your throat, your solar plexus, that just basically is slowing the energy down. And then that can have all sorts of, you know, emotional, mental, and very physical symptoms. So just being aware of the Stellar Gateway, as with all of our chakras, just doing some form of daily energy management, even that's 5 minutes, you know, and when you practice it, I do mine in 30 seconds most of the time, because I've been doing it every single day for years and I can very, very quickly draw that energy through me. But just allowing that flow consciously, allowing that light to move in, to allow whatever is coming through that Stellar Gateway to naturally flow to wherever it's meant to be, you know, because we say this is light and wisdom that's coming from other stellar constellations, from other star systems, from other races. That contains keys, codes, downloads, wisdom, and that needs to be integrated within the body. Just allow it to flow wherever it's going to be. It might move to one of your chakras, it might move to one of your bodies and fields, even perhaps to your physical body. Just allow that flow. Just be so again, in flow with whatever energy is coming through for you, and it can make quite a massive difference. And of course, even just if you haven't got any blockages or anything like that, it just helps with the overall ascension process. It helps you to raise your vibration just by being consciously in flow. That's why we do this work. That's why we do meditations regularly. That's why we run workshops every single time, because the more work we do, the more in flow we become with the universe, with the energies, with our own natural rhythm of our hearts. We let go of density. And yes, it's a challenging process, but it makes, in the long run, makes everything easier. It's a bit like going to the gym, right? Going to the gym is hard work. Exercising is hard work, especially when you're new to it. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes energy. But the more that you do it, the better you feel, and your life becomes better and easier for it. It's exactly the same with energy work. The more you do it, the more you make it a part of your regular flow, the better you feel. I'm not saying it's going to be a miracle cure, because we're still dealing with a lot in this world, but it helps. It helps.
It really does. That's such a valid point, David, to make sure that at least one part of your day is spent being dedicated to at least acknowledging the energies that are coming in, what we are connecting to, because it's very, very easy at the moment to get completely immersed in what's going on around us and in the kind of the more physical reality. And we're constantly being reminded that we are energy that has been concentrated into a physical form. And in order to shift that frequency from one state to another, we're having to apply a considerable more light to the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual fields than we ever thought were actually capable and possible for the human body. So it's like, okay, well, this is what it's designed to do. Let's go up and above and beyond that. And the Stellar Gateway is such an important chakra for that. It really is, because once you become used to how the flow of energy occurs, including also the descension of soul frequencies from your monad down to you. We talk about ascension all the time. This has become very apparent to me recently. Ascension, in the old, maybe even biblical term of the word, means to leave your physical body, to become non-physical, to ascend. So it logically, to me recently, I've had this kind of like, well, actually what we're doing is descension, because we're bringing down the energies, the mighty I am presence, the soul frequencies, and we're embodying that and going through this high frequency transformation whilst in physical. Food for thought.
That's a really interesting point. We're descending our higher aspects into the here and now, and meeting somewhere in the middle, perhaps.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
A good spot to meet.
Yeah.
Definitely.
One thing I just want to touch on really quickly is the Solar Junction Chakra, because I think there can be some confusion around this and the roles of the Solar Junction and the Stellar Gateway. So the Solar Junction Chakra was one that was added to make up the 15 chakra column just a few years ago now. And this basically, the way I see it, it exists all the way up your Antahkarana Bridge on the very edge of your spiritual field, which is absolutely vast. So it could be, miles up above your head. It's much, much higher up your system. Yeah. I mean, it'll be different for everyone and it will fluctuate. Essentially, this has two roles, and one of it is it acts as a mediator for your I am presence, for your higher self, for your Christ consciousness, for all of those higher aspects of yourself to download and integrate within your, I don't want to say physical form because it's very much part of your energetic, but into your fields, to download into your systems. And it is overseen, the development of it is overseen by your higher self. So it's a way for your higher self and the systems above that to deliver information basically that gets directly downloaded into you. But its other function is it is connected to seven intergalactic suns. Now, this is a process that started, can you remember? I think it was a winter solstice a number of years ago, Tim. It's something that when we were running a workshop, we became very aware of. That basically 7 particular suns within our galaxy universe. No, they're all in our galaxy, I think. I can't remember them often. You're looking them up.
I'm just cracking up a Word document.
Yeah.
Because there's so many other kind of names and suns that have been coming through that I was actually wondering about that myself the other day. So it's Rigel, the son of Orion, Sirius A from Sirius, Alpheratz, son of Andromeda, Alcyone, the son of the Pleiades, sorry, Arcturus from Arcturus, Antares, and Vega of the Lyran constellation. So that's Rigel, Sirius A, Alpheratz, Alcyone, Arcturus, Antares, and Vega.
Thank you.
So they're the primary ones that have kind of like basically bolstered and really catapulted this ascension process recently. It's been within the last 4 or 5 years, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've always received light codes through our sun here in the center of our solar system, and more recently starting to receive stuff directly from the great central sun in the center of our universe. Yeah. But these 7 particular suns stepped in and started to send additional light to us to help us with this process. And the Solar Junction Chakra is the entry point where those 7 suns connect and the light begins to come into our energetic systems. This differs slightly from the Stellar Gateway in that the Stellar Gateway is more about the connection to the galactic races. This is how I've seen it anyway. Tim, feel free. I'll be interested to see what you think. This is how I've seen it. That Stellar Gateway is more about the galactic races and the energy and stuff that they send to us. Whereas if the Solar Junction is more like a direct source of light from these suns.
Absolutely. It's the way that I've also perceived the Solar Junction is basically the connection point to our monadic presence. So it's the beginning of the Antahkarana Bridge. So like when you've got your Antahkarana Bridge, say that properly, goes all the way up, and it finishes or it starts at the Solar Junction, or when you're following up, it's right up there. Now the location of your Solar Junction, it's one of these chakras that will actually begin to move down and begin to connect further and closer to you, the more of your mighty I am presence you are bringing down. So that connection to our monads, who have all kind of like gone through quite an incredibly powerful merging process recently, we are condensing slightly. I still see like a considerable distance to cover with the majority of people here, but we are now in the process of bringing that down. That's how I'm kind of feeling it and seeing it at the moment.
Interesting. Really interesting. Thank you, Tim. So, yeah, you got anything else to say on the Stellar Gateway?
No, apart from if it's been brought to our attention, begin to work with it. Lost in all of the energies that we receive every day. Our own sun is speaking loudly. Continual. It wasn't that long ago that we had more northern lights in the UK, which means that's a considerable amount of photonic radiation that is being thrown at our planet via the sun. And when that happens, it's not just some random happening, it's an actual, the sun is speaking, we are receiving coding for our personal physical DNA upgrades and all the rest of it. But that's also going to make the Stellar Gateway highly active, because that's where we receive the majority of the information for our coding, or the instructions, however you want to look at it. So be aware of how you receive energy. I think that's an important message this morning. Be aware of how you receive. It's not, this isn't just a random mishmash of happenings. You are a being of advanced light. There is a technological function within you that brings all of this in. The faster we are aware of how that happens and how to treat ourselves when we are going through an upgrade process, the easier we're going to find it. Because I was reminded a little while ago, we're reaching that time of year where jokingly call last year the Great Plague of 2024. Where all of a sudden, like the Galactics begun to kind of give us our December solstice download, and everybody gets like super poorly because the light was so high. It triggered our body just threw out all the density. It was so intense what came in. Body started detoxing immediately. Everybody's ill. And that actually dropped the collective light field quotient below the target for the December solstice. So it's quite paradoxical. And this is what happens when people aren't ready. Okay, if we're not ready to take responsibility for shifting the density out and receiving the light, it's coming out anyway. So the more careful and prepared and adept at working with energy we are, the easier these processes become.
Well said, Tim. Well said. Thank you. Perfect.
Pleasure.
We've got something just to give a little shout out for before we end today.
16th of October.
Yeah, just a few days from now, we are very, very excited to be running a workshop together called Reclaiming the Sacred Wisdom of Atlantis. This is an interesting topic. It's funny, we mentioned Atlantis earlier. And I just want to, like, some people might feel a little bit of apprehension when you talk about Atlantis, because for many, many people, it's fiction. It's become mermaids swimming under the bottom of the ocean, and do you know what I mean, in cartoon series and Aquaman and all of that different thing. And it may sound like nonsense, but if you listen with your heart, you might feel the resonance. And Atlantis is so important to the journey that we're on right now. And the main reason for that is because they are the first civilization on this planet who basically achieved and held a fifth dimensional vibration in physical form. And as such, what they achieved has basically become the blueprint of a huge amount of what we are doing now. Tim mentioned earlier when he was talking about the chakra column, when those 12 chakras came online, it was because we received the Atlantean blueprint back once again. They basically went, well, that was working for them. They held it for that long. Okay, let's receive that blueprint and embody it again now. And we have so much to learn about that civilization. They had so much wisdom. They had incredible technology, a lot of which built around crystals. They were capable of doing things that would seem like complete science fiction now, regrowing holographic limbs, levitation, teleportation. They very rarely spoke with their voices. They used telepathic communication, things that would seem bizarre by modern standards, but this is the truth of who they were, and it's because of the vibration that they held.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Tim and I have both this month been individually called back to Atlantis, to begin to reclaim another aspect, should we say, because we have been down this road before where Atlantis has come up and we've recalled things from that past. But what happened with Atlantis was when it shut down, so much was frequency locked. And what I mean by that is the knowledge and the wisdom that they had and they stored away on this planet. They buried it in the earth, in crystals, all sorts of things. It was locked so that it could not be retrieved until we as a society hit a certain vibration. And so we've been through this a few years ago when, we hit a level of vibration and we received a bunch more knowledge back, which has assisted us to get to this point. And we're now at another level. And Melchizedek has come through and basically guided us to return to ancient Atlantis, to reclaim a lot of our knowledge and wisdom. Many, many of us will have had a lifetime in Atlantis. That book that Tim mentioned earlier, Discover Atlantis by Diana Cooper, was life-changing for me. And I think you had the same experience, didn't you?
Absolutely. It was my wake-up trigger. That was it, basically. Yeah.
It was the point that I realised who I had been and what I'm capable of. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way. I mean that in until then, I was very disempowered. I didn't believe I had a connection. I didn't believe anything that I was capable of. And when that triggered some memories for me and reminded me of those times, it reminded me that I am connected, that I am capable of a lot more than I thought I was. It was a complete game changer for me. But we're being guided now to reclaim a lot of the wisdom from that lifetime. The chances are you probably had at least one lifetime in Atlantis if you're watching this. And that would have been a master lifetime, because we were essentially ascended beings. We were holding a fifth dimensional frequency in a physical body. And we had skills, we had knowledge, we had wisdom that we held in that lifetime that are valuable to where we are right now, because they lived in a society of complete unity, of love and of peace. And there's a blueprint from that period that Melchizedek wants us to draw back into the now. It's very much on a personal level about reclaiming our own wisdom from that time, our own power, but also on a collective level, downloading that unity template so that we can start to embody that where we are right now within our process. It's
that's exactly what we're going to be doing on Thursday. We're going to be dipping our not just dipping our toes, but dipping our hands right back into this. And like what David was saying about the frequency lock, and as we rise in frequency and we also adopt and embody a consciousness of sovereignty and responsibility, we begin to get back what we are capable of handling. And that is a lot higher than it was when this process initially started. So we're beginning to get to the exciting part now, where we can actually re-embody aspects of who we truly were in that time, and begin to implement parts of this sacred script into the structure and the fabric of our society now. And it's never been more important than to start putting these protocols in place, because that is what the world needs. The world needs peace. It needs understanding. It needs unity. It needs love more than anything else. So it's almost like imperative that we act when we get these prompts and we're guided in that direction. So whether you remember Atlantis or whether you've got kind of no connection to it at all, you will still have aspects and a considerable amount of spiritual gifts and talents that have been put away for you at this particular time. And it's a recalibration, it's a reclamation process. And it's all very exciting, because sometimes it comes back with a memory of what you were doing, a feeling, a vibration, all of this stuff we are really going to be diving into on Thursday night.
That's it. And yeah, Tim just touched on it there. If you're convinced you didn't have a lifetime in Atlantis, there is still a collective pool of knowledge, of wisdom from that time that we're going to be tapping into, that you will still have access to receive. So there's very much, this is quite a balanced workshop, I think, in the terms of what we can get individually to help us on our own journey, and therefore help the greater picture, but also for planetary service work to receive this unity template and really anchor it back into the earth in the here and now, to try and help us take that next step on our planetary ascension. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to be talking in a lot more depth about Atlantis, about why it was so important, about what times were like back then, and then we're going to journey back there ourselves. We're going to take you back there and connect with just an incredible period in Earth's history. We're really looking forward to it. So I'm going to pop the link in the description down below if you fancy checking that out and joining us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It will be, as it always is when we come together.
That's it, my friend. That's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much, Tim, first of all, for joining me today.
Good, thank you.
It's been an absolute
really good this morning.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to dive deep here into the Stellar Gateway Chakra, because it's often we talk about these things as part of the overall systems, and we might talk about them for a couple of minutes, but we very rarely drill down into the depths of them,
the actual function is.
and important it is into the greater role. So it's been such a pleasure as always, my friend, and I will look forward to next month. If you're new to the channel, well, first of all, if you've enjoyed this, please do hit the like button. It makes a massive difference to us here and helps us to get this video out to help as many people as possible. If you're new to the channel, please do feel free to hit the subscribe button. We're on my channel today. I share regular channeled messages, meditations, and general spiritual teachings. Of course, do please go and check out my dear friend Tim. He's here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. I will at him in the description down below. He shares two videos a week on everything that you need to know to navigate this crazy, crazy process. And he has changed lives with every single video that he's done. And I have no doubt that he could help shed a little bit of light into your world as well. So please do check him out. And we will be back again in a month or so for another Magic Hat session. Absolutely. So the next one will be on Tim's channel. So if you do want to get that notified when that comes out, do make sure you subscribe to him as well.
Excellent. And see you on Friday. It's Thursday.
Thursday. Yes, we'll see you on Thursday.
I'm jumping a day ahead of myself.
If you're watching this in the future, there will be a recording of the workshop. So you can hit the same link. It'll take you straight to an option to purchase the recording as well. So brilliant. Time does not matter in this world.
Certainly doesn't. Not anymore.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, my friend. And thank you all so much for watching, guys. Sending you so much love.
Thank you, everyone.
See you again soon. Bye.
Bye.